Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. We've got a handful of watchers. Thanks for joining us. I didn't get anything to drink.
I got my Chiefs copy.
Coffee. Do you guys mind on YouTube land if I go grab a drink real quick?
Go ahead, I'll keep him busy.
Oh, keep him busy.
Hi. YouTube land. How's it going out there? That's good. That's good coffee. Lots of questions today from a few from last week even. Some cool disc reviews today. Not really anything new disc-wise, but we've got some pretty cool new stamps, kind of like a collaboration that we have going on right now. What else we got going today? Oh, yeah. AT&T Stadium. Talk a little bit about that. What else? What else? All right. The jingles. The jingle. Eric. Yeah. I'm going to show it on my In the Bag video. That's something else. I'm doing it in the bag today. Not live on the show, but we're live right now if you want to come say hi. Yeah. To YouTube. All 3 of them. No, there's 8 of them. Oh, he's out there. Grab him for me. Special appearance by this guy. He's our guy. Thanks, Shane. So we fired Bobby, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, for not getting a drink on time. We're going to have this guy stepping in for him.
All right, I'll just choke. All right.
Have you guys seen Godzilla yet?
Godzilla. Okay. So they didn't have, well, they had drinks, but it was frozen, and as soon as I opened it,
Frozen?
they were frozen. As soon as I opened it up, it erupted everywhere.
Erupted like a volcano.
So I'll just choke while we do this.
You-
Okay,
you
thanks YouTube
choke.
viewers, YouTube guy land out there.
YouTube guy land.
YouTube guy land. If this is your first time tuning in to the show, we do this show on YouTube, but it's actually a recording of the Disc Golf Answer Man podcast, which you can listen to on iTunes. I think I kind of chuckled because last episode we had somebody said, "You guys got to make this a podcast so I can listen to."
Oh, are you serious?
Yes, and I thought it started out as a podcast.
That's funny.
So if you're watching or whatnot, and that was you, sorry I chuckled a little bit.
Disc Golf Answer Man.
So,
All right,
we
let's
ready?
do this. Yeah, you should
Let's
hit
do
that
this.
button over there.
Okay, we're going to hit record on the audio, and we're going to start the show. Hello,
Hello.
All right, one more time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and I have with me Eric Effervescent EMAC McKay with me as always, and we are ready to do this show and rock and roll. We're a couple days behind. Had some busy week.
Yes.
Eric, you've been quite the nation traveler this last few days.
Yes, within the last week, I've been, well, before I was in Manchester, New Hampshire, all the way on the East Coast, and then I flew back to Kansas City for a couple days, and then I flew to Santa Cruz for the Masters Cup, and then I flew back after the Masters Cup, and I landed in Kansas City at midnight.
Woo.
Drove, which is about a 2-hour drive, to Emporia. Got to bed about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Woke up at 7 to get on the road to go to Dallas. And we drove down to Dallas.
Yep.
You were with me.
Yep.
And Mr. Kindy. And we went to a stadium down there.
The AT&T
Stadium. And then we turned around and drove all the way back home after the meeting and everything. So it's been crazy. Now I have a week off before I go to Japan.
Nice. And I know yesterday you were out practicing with your air.
Yes, my
discs.
air plastic.
So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But one thing I wanted to talk about is what you mentioned, the AT&T Stadium.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are very interested in finding out what's going on.
Everybody's interested in finding out what's
going on. So basically,
there.
we went down there and. Last time we were down there, they were setting up for the Final Four, so they didn't have
the basketball court was down.
Yeah, the basketball court. So this time they had the football field, the turf down, and so we got a chance to actually go out on the field.
Yes.
And kind of get a setup, layout of how we're going to run things.
It's amazing, when you're standing on that field, how big that place actually is. Like
awesome.
It's crazy, but it was fun. We got to set up a little course.
Yep.
And going through the hallways and on the field and a bunch of cool stuff, and then finally at the end of the day, we were all just having a good time chucking frisbees back and forth. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Actually, Steve-O, Story, and myself, and Bobby, and Lamoureux. Bobby and I were on one end, and Lamoureux and Steve-O were on the other end, and we were playing catch.
Basically catch, yeah.
Playing catch with a truth from 100 yards away. From one end zone to the other, and I actually made a couple field goals.
I know,
it was
so
pretty
awesome.
cool. But that was so much fun, just to rip drives and throw shots inside that. And then it was really cool. Like all the security guards were around, and they were like interested in it. They weren't like, "Don't be doing that, kids."
Yeah.
They were like, "That's really cool."
Yeah.
So.
And I know a couple times when you were testing things out and you were throwing discs. They have tours that go through the stadium.
Yes.
And so they had big groups, and there was actually one big group. They were told Kindy, he can't throw it that far.
Yeah.
And I remember they yelled out, "Throw one!" And you
Go
threw
ahead.
it, and it was like it just bombed in the air of the stadium, and they were like, "Whoa, he can throw it that
what's
far."
going on?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really neat to see people that aren't into disc golf, see what was going on, and be interested in it. So anyway, we can't give away too much more details.
No, here in a couple weeks.
Yes.
I think by June 1st, we're looking to get a lot more information out there. Maybe really nail it down on what we're going to be doing and the cost, all that. And just so you guys know, it's not going to cost you, a lot of money to go and participate in this event. I know when I was posting some pictures of the place, people were like, "Oh, Jerry's probably going to charge $50 for parking just like he does, at our football games and whatnot." But no, that's not the case. It's an experience. This is going to be an amazing time, and it's not going to cost you a fortune to do it. So
No, it's going to be fun.
definitely mark your calendar for July 12th and get to Arlington, Texas.
Yeah. So we'll give out more information. Right now, we're just still kind of in the pre-planning stages, and we don't want to speculate on what we're going to do, what we can't do, what we're not going to do until we actually have everything hammered down.
I can tell you, if you do come, you will throw a disc inside the stadium.
You will throw discs in the stadium for sure. At things.
At
people. No.
Not
at people. Okay. So anyway, so that's kind of catching everybody up on what's going on.
Yeah.
Let's hop on over and talk about some product.
Yeah. Well, what we've got here, we kind of had a little bit of a collaboration, so to speak.
Yeah.
I believe we can say it that way. Huck Lab contacted us about getting some stamp discs made on Latitude and maybe some West Side and some of our DD line. So, the Huck Lab logo is a pretty cool logo. I really like the logo. It's unique. It's we've got them on
the Tri-Fly.
So many different discs. It's amazing the how many discs you can choose from now with the Huck Lab logo on them. I've got a soft. I believe we have soft judges, blend judges, I think all the putters that we've got around. We got Suspects, we got Triple X's, we got Kings, we've got Pures. I mean, you can just about name the disc that we stamp, and we've put the Huck Lab logo on. So.
And we're excited about this because a lot of people really like the Huck Lab and everything they do, and so we were excited about the little collaboration of getting their stamp on our disc.
Exactly.
And so, this is the initial available stamp, and then I'm sure we'll go as the relationship grows, we'll get even more different stamps for them to put on our products. So we're excited about that. So
and they're not ridiculously overpriced at all. They're just normal custom stamp disc price. So that's something you guys definitely should check out.
So cool. All right, well, that's it. It's not a big product review because we have a lot of questions, some questions remaining from last episode. So we're going to hop right into the questions, but definitely go online. If you select right now the link on dynamicdisc.net and click on new releases, it's either new product or new releases, you'll see a whole selection of these.
Or you can simply go to the website and search Huck Lab.
Make sure you search Huck Space Lab.
Yes, not one word.
Not one word. I tried that and I thought, wait, where's it all at?
Yeah.
But I did Huck
Or just Huck.
Huck.
H-U-K.
There you go. Huck.
H-U-K. That'll get you where you need to go.
Cool. All right, we're going to hop right into the questions. All right, the first question is from Radlin. Radlin says, "Hi, Eric and the Breeze." Oh, that's right, Eric and the Breeze. Real quick, we got a couple more jingle entries, and they are awesome. And thank you guys for doing that. I know there's a couple other people that have mentioned they're working on them, so we're going to keep this one kind of going. Once we get all those in, we'll let you guys listen to it, and then we might have you guys help us judge which one will be the
we got some pretty good ones in right now.
Yeah. All right, so make sure you go to discgolfanswerman.com, and there's a tab that says DGAM jingle, and you can submit your jingle, either a YouTube video that you make, so you give us the link, or you can actually upload an MP3 file, and that'll be your entry.
Sweet.
All right, sorry. So back to the question from Radlin. It says, "Hi, Eric and the Breeze. This question is for the both of you. Okay. What disc do you use as an overstable fairway driver? Not the super overstable slot that can be filled with a triple X, but rather the Brinster T-Bird / Beefy Eagle type disc that can stand up to a moderate headwind without turning too much."
Easy for me. It is the Saint Pro, and it's the particular line of the Deco Die ones, the ones that Latitude makes with the full stamp on them. I believe they're gold line, and it's a little pop-toppy, and they just tend to be the most overstable of the Saint Pros. So for me, it is the Deco Die Saint Pro.
Nice. Well, me, I was trying to figure out what disc would be for me, because I'm not a real strong thrower, real fast thrower, so I have a tendency not to be able to get a lot of discs to stand up. Although I've noticed the last few times, I think I'm getting a little bit better.
With your witnesses and your
witnesses
thieves.
Yeah. So I guess for me to fight some wind, I'll grab my trespass, or I'll grab my is it my king?
Your king. Those are more along the lines of distance drivers.
That's
probably
true.
Than fairway drivers. So your fairway driver that I've seen you throw a lot is probably the Escape.
The Escape. Now that's one, definitely that I can rely on for. But so I don't get a lot of discs to stand up and go straight. So I guess mine would be the Escape. All right. And looks like Radlin sent in another question. He says, "Hi, it's me again. This is for you, Bobby. When are those in the bag videos going to start popping up? I love your footage and would like everyone's input on new molds they are throwing."
Well, I noticed we just had a couple pop up. We had Paige Bjerkes pop up, and Tomas.
Tomas, yes.
Saw both of those.
So Paige Bjerkes, who's out of Colorado, right?
Colorado, Denver area.
Denver area. She did it in the bag, and I tell you what. No hit on the other in the bags I've done, because they were really good.
Yes.
But she is very in depth with what she talks about her discs.
Well spoken.
Yes.
She's an amazing person, really, and she has a future in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we should have her come in and
she needs to be on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but if you can go to youtube.com/dynamicdiscs, and you can see Paige Bjerkes, or if you want to see the guy that designs these discs, what he throws, Tomas Ekstrom. If you go to youtube.com/latitude64 on their YouTube page, I do their videos. You can see theirs.
And just to add to this, the in the bags, today,
Today?
actually, as soon as we're done with this episode, we are going to do a in the bag for myself.
Yep.
And we're going to do 2 in the bags. One of them will be my in the bag,
Right.
my normal just everyday bag, and the second is going to be my Japan Open bag.
Yes.
So I'm pretty excited about that, getting that out there and letting people see all the really cool air plastic that I'll be throwing over there.
Plus, people will get to see why. Why do I want an air?
Yeah.
And, how it will apply to you over in Japan, obviously, because that's the regulations, but how it might apply here as well. Why would you want an air in a certain mold that you really like?
And I got my first round in last night with all my whole air bag, and it was an experience at first, but then I just need to start trusting,
right?
And I have a 155 Mercy, I believe is what the weight is on it, and I'll tell you that thing glides.
I bet it does.
It's almost easier to putt with that than it is max weight or when it's no wind, which we had yesterday. So anyway,
so those are coming out. You have to understand, Radlin, that I'm in Emporia, and most of our players, all of our players are like in Texas. They're all over the United States. So it's not always easy to get with them, and they don't go to every tournament. And even some of the big tournaments like the Glassbone Open, everybody's just so busy.
Yeah, it's hard to find time to actually, because it takes a good 20, 30 minutes to
do one,
to film it, just to film it, not to mention put it together, and you've got other stuff going on.
So hopefully we'll start knocking those out, but we'll get Eric's, and then there's a few other that I'm working on that you guys might be interested, that you like the Trilogy brand. So stay tuned to the Dynamic Disc YouTube page and the Latitude 64 YouTube page as well.
Cool.
All right, the next one is from, he says his name is Atlantic, Canada.
All right.
He says, hello from the Great White North. Spring is finally in full swing. Oh, that's awesome. Oh. Love the weather. Everything is greening up and slowly drying out. If you could choose any top 4 PDGA pros to play around at the USDGC or Pro Worlds, who would it be and why? What type of personalities or quirks do you not like to play with?
Well, the question, it's kind of a tough question for me because I have played all of those events with all the top players, so I think maybe he's asking who do I prefer to play with.
Yeah.
Paul Macbeth is definitely one up there that I enjoy playing with. Stevie Rico, and mainly because Rico and I get along and we tend to push each other when we play. And few others out there, I'm sure. I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head right now. But as far as who personalities and quirks I don't like to play with is, I don't want to get into anything, but I don't like playing with players that tend to complain a lot and kick bags and just overall have a pretty bad attitude on the course. And then there's nothing worse than playing with someone who complains and moans the whole round and then it ends up beating you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it just frustrates you. But no, I like to play with players that have a positive attitude and are willing to help you as much as you're willing to help them, push each other through the round. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, the next question is from Peter. Peter says, thanks for the hard work y'all put into the podcast and the other DD videos and events. A question for both. After watching players at this year's GBO, I was wondering whether there are any players you could name with a particular aspect to their game that you especially admire. Maybe another way of asking the question is this. If you could make a Frankenfroffer by combining particular aspects of different players' game, who would you include? What aspect of their game would you choose and why? Interesting.
Yeah. Well, for sure, I would take Ricky Wysocki's sidearm.
Oh, yeah.
Because that thing is just nasty. It's so consistent, and he just pops it out there. He can throw that thing almost 400 feet probably, and Ricky's got a smashing sidearm. I would love to have that. Simon's putt. Simon's got a great putt. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And especially in the wind, he's probably one of the best wind putters out there. And then probably Macbeth's head, because he's probably got the best head out right now. Of course, because he's two-time world champion back to back, and So, when things are going your way, you tend to have more confidence. So maybe Macbeth's confidence.
Yeah.
So I think if you put those three together in one player, they would be unstoppable.
You wouldn't want my backhand throw?
I'd want your filming
My
abilities.
filming ability. All right. What was that?
No, I don't know.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, the next one is from, let's see. He put his first name as Swanky. I guess I kind of chuckle, guys, but it's really okay to put your real name. It's okay.
Maybe Swanky is his real name.
Swanky Pants?
Oh.
Anyway.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay, so he says, how often, or she says maybe. Maybe she has some swanky pants. How often do you guys and other pros change out the putters they use?
That's a great question.
Seems like Macbeth uses a new set quite often. I personally like to use very new putters, so I change mine out often.
Yes. Macbeth does definitely. I know I've seen him switch up putters from event to event. I know he used to retire putters. After he'd win a big event with them.
Oh, okay.
He would retire them. And I'm not sure if he still does that or not, but for me, I will typically once a month I'll be throwing a new putter in the bag somewhere. I do like to have them new. I don't like them to be too beat in because they'll tend to flip a lot more. But the beauty is, I have all these putters now for backyard practice.
Yeah.
Just for the routine, just for the consistent release and all that. But typically I'll funnel putters in and out of my bag all the time. So about once a month I put a brand new one in.
All right, the next one is from Jim. Jim says, EMAC, I'm a second-year disc golf addict that works in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Nice.
And when you mentioned your involvement in a course installation here, I nearly fell out of my desk chair. The oracles of Google and Disc Golf Course Review don't seem to know anything about a planned public course in Manchester or the involvement of the 2010 World Champ. I'm sure it's very preliminary, but can you give us any info on timing or proposed sites? New Hampshire has a handful of great courses, but the density of courses is poor, and Manchester is particularly underserved. We New Hampshire disc golfers would be ecstatic for you to work your mojo on a course in our area.
Nice.
I don't throw any Trilogy plastic
yet
now, but I enjoy your podcast, and I'll buy a case of Truth if it gets you into town. Best regards, Jim.
Awesome. Well, I can't necessarily say the location, the exact location yet. That's something I think the city wanted to keep kind of under wraps for now. But here within the next couple months, I'm actually flying back out there, and I'm going to spend a couple weeks out there putting the course in. And by the end of this year, probably by fall, there's going to be an 18-hole course there.
Nice.
So it's a lot of work, but it's going to be worth all the work. That's for sure.
Cool. The next one is from Joey, and Joey says, hey guys, I just wanted to know if the Warden is going to be released in lucid plastic soon. It's a great putter, and I would like to have it in a more durable plastic for driving. Thanks for making some great discs.
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be a June or July release.
Nice.
For the Lucid Wardens.
Well, there you go. Look out for that. The next one is from Wycliffe. Wycliffe says, I've been attempting to get more snap/spin on my drive, but nothing is keeping me consistent. Sometimes I turn the disc over, and other times the disc is coming out early. Any advice for consistency?
Well, for more snap, if you're getting a lot more snap and you tend to be turning the disc over, you may be rolling your wrist, or you may be throwing the disc a little too flat or too much anhyzer. So if the more and more snap you get on a disc, depending on what disc you're using, you're going to want to be releasing a little bit hyzer angles, if that makes sense.
Okay.
For me, if you watch my game, probably 80% of my drives are all hyzer releases, and that's just for the consistency, the release. I feel like I can hit a gap easier with a disc coming out as a hyzer as opposed to an anhyzer. So it sounds like you maybe just need to get a few more overstable discs and try some hyzer releases now that you're getting more and more snap.
Cool. All right, the next one is from Uncle Mojo. He says, hello, EMAC and the Breeze, Team Trilogy member Uncle Mojo here. Great show. I've been tuning in to your show only for a little while now, but I'm a fan. Keep up the good work. My question is for Eric. Japan Open is about a month away. Well, now it's like
a week away.
a week away. How have you been preparing for that tournament? What discs do you plan on having in your bag? P.S. Can you guys talk Rusko into offering hats for you guys with the big heads? I wear a size 8. Keep spreading the disc golf luck.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll talk to Rusko about the big heads.
Big head hats. Well, like we had mentioned, we're going to do a Japan Open in the bag, but just to give you a little quick, look at what's going to be in there, there's going to be some Giants and Trespasses and Truths and St. Pros. Those are going to be my top 4 discs for the Japan Open.
Now, here's a question that I just thought of. For every bag every disc that you have in your regular bag, is there a air version of it in your bag?
No, not yet.
Okay.
The Trident, I don't have an air. The Enforcer, I don't have an air yet, but Tomas is supposed to bring me some in Japan.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be nice. Verdicts aren't out just yet, but there's a chance I'm going to get some of those. Just pretty close. I mean, I was actually going through the warehouse yesterday, and I found a box that said Havoc Air, and I was like, "Whoa, what? Huh?" So it was like 8 boxes down, so I got all the way down to it and opened it, and I was like, "Whoa, there's a whole box of Havoc Air Havocs." I'm like, "Wow, this is amazing." So I threw a couple of those in there, but those probably won't make the cut for me.
No.
Maybe in Japan because it's a little more elevation and it's hopefully everything's a little bit more overstable there because they aren't too overstable, but they're great downwind distance drivers. So
nice.
So tune into my in the bag, and you'll be able to see everything.
And like you said, we're going to record it today, and then I'm going to have it out sometime next week, so you can kind of see what Eric's going to throw while he's in Japan. Are they doing any kind of broadcasting of that? Do you know?
I don't necessarily think they are because it's like a 9 or 10 hour time difference. So when I tee off at 3 o'clock, it'll be 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So
sure, hopefully somebody will be out there at least filming.
Yeah, I mean there'll be footage.
Right.
I'm sure there'll be footage of it. It's just it'll be put together. It'll be after the event. So
all right, the next question is from Anthony. Anthony says, "My question is about long range putts from 50 to 100 feet. I see a lot of top pros get that distance with their normal putting form and seemingly no effort. It holds a perfectly straight line the whole time, and it's always the same distance above the ground. When I throw these shots to get anywhere close to that distance, I have to loft it a lot higher in the air and put a ton into the throw. Needless to say, my results are nowhere near as good. What am I doing wrong? I should say I like soft putters, and I know almost all pros use stiff putters.
Yes.
Could that have something to do with it?
I think it absolutely does. I've noticed the softer plastic tends to be a little bit more overstable, so naturally it's not going to get the distance on it. And for my putt, it's spin. More spin on the disc, the more glide it's going to get. So I would maybe try to grab a stiffer putter for longer putts and a lot more spin on the disc, which basically comes from the wrist and more snap, more pop for that longer distance.
Nice. All right, the next one is from Sally. Sally says, "How often should disc golfers replace their putters?" Every day, I'm sure. I've noticed recently that after a period of time, my Mercies begin to be a little off target until I replaced them. For a person who practices putting every day, how often should they be replaced? Maybe a better question is, what is the life expectancy of a hard putter? Also, for anyone who didn't make it to the GBO, you missed out. Yes, you did.
Well, Sally was one of our winners too.
Yeah, he won a trip out here.
Yeah. Well, as far as how often to replace your putters, here's something I recommend. If you're an everyday putter, everyday practice putter, don't use the ones that are your go-to putters that are in your bag for tournament rounds or casual rounds, whatever the case may be. If you're in the backyard just practice putting, you need to have a stack of discs just strictly for putting, just because in your backyard you're going to have whatever the case may be, you're going to have a fence or a piece of concrete or something that's going to potentially put more wear and tear on those putters, and the more and more you use them, the more beat in they get. So I definitely recommend, like for instance, if you go to our house, the backyard, we've got putters all over the place, So I like to have a stack strictly for practice, and then my putters that are in the bag I only touch when I'm practicing for an event, playing a course, anything like that. Just because you don't want them to beat in too fast and have to replace them every other week.
Yeah.
But as far as how long of a life expectancy do they have in your bag, I mean, it really just depends on how stable you want the putter to be. But you can have a putter. I've had putters last all season.
Oh, wow.
Going in and out of rotation. So I just recommend picking up between 5 and 10 new ones and then rotate them in and out.
Nice. Yeah, you can definitely tell we live in a disc golfer's house. There's discs out back. There's
Out back.
2 baskets out back, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then in the living room, there's a rack of discs.
Two racks.
Two
of
racks
discs.
behind the love seat. One of the walls has shelves on it, and there's discs there.
Discs all in there.
Every other wall has like a
disc on it.
hanging up on it.
And it's just like not even.
And then your room.
It's just a disc. My room has the Evolution of the Truth on it, and
that's really cool. So in fact, the other day I was trying to open the window and I looked out and there's a disc sitting on the roof. I've been there for months and months. Got thrown up there or something and just left. So
that's funny.
So anyway, okay. So the next question is from Matt. Matt says, "Hey Bobby and Eric. First of all, awesome podcast every week. Thanks, Matt. It was nice to see that Simon Lizotte won the Glassbone Open. Can this bring more good European players to the States to compete? I hope so.
I mean, that's the plan. At least, is to create a great event that we want people to travel over here for. And Simon is a great player. I mean, he's, 19, 20 years old, something like that. He's just a kid, and he's tall, lanky, and I would love to see more and more Europeans come over here. I love traveling there and playing, with them because they're just it's almost like a different breed. Not in a bad way, in a great way. Yeah. They're competitive. They're not out to beat you, so to speak. They're there
to compete.
They're there to compete, and they'll congratulate you when you throw a good shot. Unlike some of the people around some places that won't be mentioned, they're like bitter about everything, and and the Europeans tend to they still enjoy the sport and they treat it like a true professional sport. So. I absolutely hope that we have more Europeans coming over and playing the tour.
Have you ever had somebody represent Japan come play GBO?
Not GBO, but at Worlds.
At Worlds,
we had like 5 or 6 of them.
That would be cool to have someone from Japan.
That would be really cool.
GBO.
That would be really cool.
All right, the next question is from Miles, and Miles says, "Hi, hey Bobby and Emac, love the podcast. My question is, how do you learn to flick or forehand with your opposite hand?
Oh.
I'm left-handed in everything but disc golf. I can flick with my left hand and throw right hand backhand, but both those shots end left. I'm an advanced player and want a shot that can fade right without having to throw an understable disc to hold an anhyzer line, hoping it doesn't hyzer out." Excuse me.
It's because you don't have a drink.
I know. Sorry for the long question. Keep up the great work.
Well, I'm confused by the question, I guess, because he asks at first, how do you throw a flick forehand with your opposite hand? Well, you don't want to throw a flick or forehand with your opposite hand because it's the same shot as your backhand.
Right.
It is. If you're a right-handed player and you throw them backhands right-handed, they're going to finish left. And a left-handed flick is going to finish left. So I think the question maybe is, how do you throw forehand flick with just basically how do you throw one? I guess, because, if you want it to finish right, you need to throw your forehands with your right hand.
Right.
It's the same motion, it's just the opposite. Does that make sense?
I guess.
Because he's he's right-handed, and he's throwing his flicks left-handed.
I gotcha.
And so if you think about it, it's the same shot.
Same shot, yeah.
There's use for there's great uses for having a lefty flick and a right-handed backhand. I have a good friend of mine that does that, actually. He throws left-handed and right-handed flicks, so it's the opposite of Miles here. But you just need to get out and work on those shots with the right hand. Throw right-handed flicks, because those are the ones that are going to finish to the right.
To the right, okay.
Yes.
All right, the next one is from Tom. Tom says, "Hey there, McBreeze."
Nice.
McBreeze.
Sounds like a McDonald's hamburger or something.
I get the McBreeze. And fries.
And a smoothie.
I've been playing for about 3 years now and have never driven with a putter. even on holes 200 feet and under. Are there any tips or tricks to driving with a putter? Thanks for all your help.
Throwing a putter it's not something easily picked up, I guess, if you've never done it. If you're used to throwing mids or drivers, whatever the case may be, just know that a putter it's going to fly more like a frisbee, and it's going to be a little more understable most of the time. And just remember, you don't want to just kill it. A lot of people think I just got to smash this thing hard, and it just ends up turning over and rolling out. For a putter, just remember, nice, easy, little hyzer releases, and a great way to practice that shot is get a buddy, go stand 150, 200 feet away from each other, and just simply play catch.
Nice.
Back and forth, and you can use that during an actual tournament round. When you're that far out and you have the putter shot, and just pretend you're playing catch. That's really the easiest way to learn how to do it.
Nice. All right, the next one is from Nicholas. Nicholas says, for EMAC, as a touring pro, how do you do your taxes?
Nice.
Do you have to file for each state that you play in, or is it only when you win over $500 in each state?
Now they're going to be after me.
Oh, yeah.
No.
There's no tax account or no accountants watching this, is there?
No.
Good.
It's actually not 500. I believe it's 650 or something like that. It's a weird number.
Yeah.
But for those events, most of the time, if it's a big enough tournament, like say the Memorial or anything like that, they cut you a check and you have to fill out a W-4 or 2, whatever those are. I don't remember. But you have to fill out those, and then of course you get the return. You have to pay taxes on it, and I've stressed to any disc golfer out there that travels and makes a living doing it to pay your taxes, because it will come back and haunt you.
It will.
It will come back and hurt you. But for me, I've got an accountant that I use, a friend of the family kind of thing, and well, not really, but it's just somebody we've known for years.
Right.
And I get to actually write off. I get paid because it's my job.
Right.
I get paid so many miles that I drive.
Sure.
And all of that balances out, and the money I make plus the entry fees I pay for, and all that. It all comes down. So basically, I have someone do it. I can't just go to taxwhatever.com and do it myself, because it'd be way too confusing for me. But I actually have somebody do it for me every year. And technically, yeah, I guess you don't need to claim the income you make under whatever the number is, $600. But for me, I always do. I claim anything that I make, anything that goes out, and just very, very in detail about it, just because it's the right thing to do.
Well, yeah. Nobody likes taxes.
No.
I hate taxes.
Yeah.
But it's the law, so it's what I got to do.
Yeah.
And you pay your taxes. So yes, if you're definitely looking into turning this into your career, you definitely need to start out right by making sure you talk to an accountant.
Yes.
Don't try to guess, and don't try to do it all on your own, because
or just don't do it. Don't not do it.
Yeah. Because you may get away with it for a year, 2, 3, maybe 4 years, but once it catches,
and then you get that bad word.
Yeah.
Audit.
And the IRS ignorance is not a way out.
Yeah.
They don't care. You should know what you're doing and stuff like that, and they'll go after you. There's no forgiveness there. All right, the next one is from JB Mean, and he says, thanks for talking me off the ledge of my plateau.
Nice.
It was maddening, but I'm getting through it. I threw my fugitive 300 feet on flat land and almost aced the 290-foot basket.
Awesome.
As I start throwing drivers, is it plug and play, or should I strap in for another learning curve and plateau?
It's everybody's going to plateau. And it's just a matter of working through that plateau and getting out there and practicing, of course. And just basically, yeah, it's going to be another learning curve throwing drivers from throwing mids. But you did it the right way by throwing the mids first, because that is the harder of the two. So now it's just a matter of getting out and throwing the drivers.
Yeah. And the advice I've given the people, and I've given before, is that if you're just starting, if you say I'm going to start throwing drivers, don't use tournaments, or don't use. Now you can use casual rounds with just you and some
leagues,
but don't use those time to really practice.
Yeah.
Of course you're getting practice because you're playing, but get out there when it's just you and a couple other guys, and you have time to throw 2 or 3
or yourself.
Drivers, on a tee pad and stuff. So that's practice. All right, Michael says, love the program, keep them coming. This is the question for Eric. When hyzer flipping a disc, do you start off aiming left of the target line as a right-hand backhand player, then just adjust how much according to your disc selection?
Somewhat. A lot of the times, depending on the hole in the disc I'm throwing, but I will, for hyzer flips, I throw it right at the basket. Release it right at it so it flips up. And the key to a hyzer flip is it's going to flip up and fly right, and then eventually come back. So it's essentially flying in a straight line by the end of the flight.
Okay.
So usually I'll aim straight at the basket, and it depends on what kind of damage the hole has.
Yeah.
Like if there's OB on the left side or OB on the right side, then I'll tend to be a little bit on the safer side on where I release the disc. But for the most part, right at the basket.
Nice.
Right at the aiming point, I guess, is what it would be.
All right. The next question is from Carl, and Carl says, it was great meeting you at Bowling Green, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the GBO. It was great meeting you too, Carl. We ran into a situation during our doubles round last week involving OB.
Oh.
Around the pin, there are OB bunkers that are a stroke and distance.
Mm-hmm.
A guy on my card put it on the edge of a bunker opposite from the pin and was outside 30. The question at hand was, and still is, can you jump from your mark inbounds and land in OB during a jump putt? Thanks for the show. I plan on working with my Moonshine Truth from the Bowling Green Players Pack once I'm back to 100%.
So, okay, the question is, he's outside 30 feet. He's outside the 33-foot circle.
Right.
And he wants to know if he can jump putt into OB. Yes.
You can.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
You can. It doesn't matter where you land, as long as the disc is released while you're still on the ground.
I got you.
And it's kind of like the opposite way. If he turns around, you can't have your back foot OB.
That's what I was thinking.
You can't have your back foot OB as you're putting. But if he's on the safe side, jump putting and releases it and then falls into the bunker, yeah, that's
then
perfectly
it's fine.
fine. It's no different than if there's a pond in front of you. I mean, if you fall into the pond after you throw your shot, you're not OB.
Interesting.
So
good deal.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is from Wycliffe again. He says, Eric, with the release of your new Signature Series putter,
yes,
would you please give us a quick review compared to the Judge?
Sure can. The Mercy is what he is referring to. And it's in the zero hard plastic, which is similar to our classic plastic. It's actually a little softer though than the normal zero hard. It's almost like in between medium and hard. It's like that perfect blend for myself. And as far as comparing it to a Judge, the reason I don't putt with the Judge from longer distances is because I was missing them just a little short with my putt.
Yeah.
So they would hyzer out just in front of the basket, and I was like, oh, come on. So I picked up a Mercy and started throwing it, and those things just fly very straight with hyzer at the very end of the flight. So it's very similar to the Judge in feel and flight, with the exception it's just a little less stable, so it goes a little straighter for the putting, which is perfect for me.
Awesome. And
for throwing as well. So if you're throwing it, it's basically the same as it's right in between the Judge and the Warden.
Cool. All right, the next question is from...
And you can pick those up at dynamicdisc.com.
Or Internet.
Or Internet.
Which one? The Judge or the Mercy?
Mercy. Or the Judge.
Or this? No, but definitely check out the Signature Series.
Yeah.
Right now, there's just the one available.
Just the one is available right now, and then next month we'll have another available.
Yeah, so there's 3 different stamps that Crispin Carrasco from Hand-Eye Supply designed for Eric, and they're just really cool little collector Signature Series.
I believe there's only a couple hundred of each.
Yeah, so definitely want to pick one of those up. The next one is from Simon. Simon says, awesome standard as always since I found this show /podcast. About the disc weights for Japan. You talked about lighter weights for safety reasons. How is that? The disc will still gain so much speed momentum on drives to cause serious damage if it would ever hit someone. Can you find any other info on their webpage about it either? Nice to see the newer In the Bag series. I just love getting all that input and comments on disc choice. How do you think the Trilogy cooperation will continue to work in the nearest future? How many questions do you have in here? Sorry. I'm all Trilogy and love my disc, but fear that it may become a race between the 3 companies if it's always new discs coming out. Hope my worries is just silly, but interested to hear your thought of this. He's a Swedish friend.
Cool.
Okay,
Simon.
so
Well, first off, the Japan Open. We can possibly find some more information on it and put a link out on the page. But as far as I was concerned, or to my knowing, it was safety issues, and they've bumped it up to 159 as opposed to 150, what it used to be. Which, wow, can you imagine that?
Wow.
I mean, that 9 grams is huge.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll see if we can find some more information on why and more details on why they make us throw the 159 plastic. But and as far as the Trilogy Corporation,
we'll continue to work in the near
yes,
future.
There's no reason not to.
Right.
We're very happy with Latitude and West Side, of course. Yanni being, finally coming over to the States and meeting him was awesome at the GBO. There's no, it's, as of right now, at least, I know that there's nothing. We're perfectly happy, and I don't see it being a competition, so to speak, of or we need to get this disc out before they do.
Right.
That's not the case, because we'll put out a disc, and then they'll put out a similar disc, but change it up a little bit. So it's kind of like the beauty of we have three shots to make the perfect disc.
Right.
So it's great, So like the Enforcer, the Scythe, and the Giant.
Right.
Boom. Those are 3 discs that are similar, but they're different. So it's just to each his own kind of thing. And no, we're perfectly happy with Latitude and West Side, and they are as well, as far as I know.
Yeah, the way I look at it, I guess, is that like you said, the Scythe, the Enforcer, and the Giant.
Mm-hmm.
What may work for you, the Enforcer, someone may say, I just can't get the Enforcer, but boy, I can get that Scythe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not really a competition like the Enforcer is better than the Scythe.
Yep.
I mean, it may be better for you, but the Scythe may be better for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome, is that you, like you said, you have like 3 discs for that particular shot that you have to choose from. Just all the better choices that you have.
Yeah, just it's awesome how many. I mean, when I first switched over to the Trilogy family, it was crazy knowing how many discs I can throw.
Yeah.
I mean, even not so much anymore, but up into a month or 2 ago, I was still going through the warehouse going, wow, here's a disc I haven't thrown. Maybe I should give it a try, And so that's awesome. And yeah, we're just one big happy family.
One big happy family. The next one is from Big Good. He says, my question is actually for the viewers.
For you guys.
He says, how in the heck have you survived this long without having a truth in your bag?
Good question.
Good question. All right, he says, are you afraid that you will no longer need that collection of mids that you've been compiling for years? Because that's what will happen. Or is it that you're afraid of becoming so good that everyone calls you a bagger and you have to move up division? Because that's what will happen. That's the truth.
Nice.
That's it. Okay,
That's
we did not pay him to do that.
We need more questions like that.
I know. No. How funny. Thanks, Be Good, for
that's awesome.
input. But yes, in all honesty, the truth is a very, very good disc, and you definitely should at least give it a try. All right, the next one is from Nicholas, and he says, for Easy Mac.
Easy Mac.
I noticed that you wear glasses.
I do.
How do you deal with it on a foggy or rainy course? Do you keep drying them off, have special prescription fog-free goggles, or do you wear contacts?
Well, it's kind of funny. I don't wear them to play. I don't know if it's near or farsighted, which one it is, but it's more or less for up close reading.
Okay.
I'm blind otherwise,
Okay.
but I can see just fine on a disc golf course. Someday maybe I'll have glasses for the good disc golf course as well, but I don't wear them when I play. I only wear them for casual or any other time, driving and reading and stuff like that.
All right, the next one is from Nicholas, and Nicholas says, question for the both of you. Why is it that no one has done a disc golf convention before? Dynamic Discs is the perfect company to host one. Think of how great the vendor hall would be, open to all vendors, not just for you guys, as well as the many panels that could be ran in side game events that could go on during the weekend. I think it would need to be held outside of Emporia so as not to take the steam away from the GBO, but should be at a location with multiple courses and hopefully a big enough hotel nearby. This is the perfect time to start a convention that could be a decade-long tradition and explore areas of the sport outside of the traditional tournament.
Cool. It sounds like fly marks are very similar to that. I know it's basically they're at disc golf tournaments, so but world championships, there's always everybody goes to the world championships and sets up in Vins. So I know last year at the worlds, the amateur worlds here, we had our whole block full of Innova was there, Discraft was there, Vibram was there, we were there. I'm pretty sure just about every disc company was there.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of that, but I think as far as a disc golf convention, I know that, for instance, Rusko and Searle and a couple other guys went to a Pdga sports convention and set up, and at that convention there was Legacy was there, DGA was there, Discraft, and everybody was there. So that's kind of like what it is, but it's hard to get all the manufacturers. It's hard to get the players who the people, what the companies sell the discs for, the players. It'd be hard to get them to come somewhere that's not a disc golf tournament going on. It's going to be hard for them to, all right, well, let's get together this weekend and we'll all just sell discs. But it's going to be hard to do it that way when there's, no tournament or no other draw for the players to come.
And I'm going to sound probably like the downer or the boo guy.
Downer,
but
Debbie.
It's actually a line from. So my answer to why has there not been a disc golf convention is a line from a movie where the guy says, "What's the question to what's the answer to 9 out of the 10 questions ever asked?"
No.
The answer is money.
Oh. Yeah,
so
that's true.
I hate to sound like that guy. It's not because of technically greed, but it takes money to go somewhere, to be somewhere, to hold things like that. And like Eric was saying, unless there's something else to draw them. Now, I'm not. That's not to take away anybody's passion or love for disc golf. I love disc golf. When we were at the AT&T Stadium, as we mentioned earlier, and we were throwing discs in the stadium, I took a picture at the 50-yard line and I sent it to my wife and I said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you for letting me have this job because it's amazing. I'm doing what I love to do and I'm here doing this stuff." So it's amazing. It's awesome and I have the passion for it. But when it really comes down to it, it costs money to do that kind of stuff. And if there's not going to be any return as far as money, now, the return in a convention could be, the building of the sport. I understand that. But without the draw of a tournament, you're not going to get a bunch of people driving 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 hours just to come to walk around to spend more money. They're going to want to come to compete. And we wouldn't want to do another one because of the Glassbone Open. But if you think about it, the GVO is somewhat of a convention. In other words, we had 500 people with all similar interests, which is disc golf, come together, have a good time, party, poker, putting, the tournament.
That's why GBO is an experience.
An experience, right. We created an experience, and next year is going to be a bigger one. Trust me. But anyway, so I love the idea of a disc golf convention. I love the idea of people coming together with the like-minded. But, man, it's hard. It's hard. It costs a lot of money.
Yeah, sure does.
All right, so the next one is from, no, this is not. This is different. The next one is from Andy. Andy says, how many people lie about how far they throw on the internet? Ooh, the big fish story, huh? Just kidding. I know you don't know. Actually, I do. Five of them. No. My real question is, does being able to throw 500 to 550 feet come into play in more than 1 or 2 holes in a given tournament weekend? I'm thinking if I can throw near 400, I can par a 600-foot hole with a good 200-foot approach. The guy who can throw 550 might birdie, but in most cases, I can't see one hole being the difference. Eric, am I wrong?
No, not really.
Nope.
You're absolutely right on. If you can throw it 400 feet consistently, and then you can throw a 200-foot approach, then yeah, boom. But there is courses out there that make it a lot easier to be able to throw 500-600 feet, like for instance Kansas City, the Kansas City Wide Open, especially this year. We're playing Swope Gold, the final round, which Big Arm doesn't necessarily help you out there a whole lot, but Blue Valley, the longest permanent course in the world, that course definitely gives you an advantage being able to throw that far. It just makes it to where you have easier looks at your 4s and your 3s on the par 4s and 5s. And we're playing Waiko as well, and that's another course that's set up really long. So it definitely has its advantages to being able to throw super far. Like, look at Simon, for instance. He's a perfect example. That kid can just smash. Yeah. It's ridiculous, some of the looks he got. And then somebody else, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with a course like De La Viega, but there is one hole out there. It's called I-5. It's hole 13, and they call it I-5 because a lot of people, when they're done with it, they say I-5 because they got a 5 on the hole. It's a very tough hole, and it's one of those holes that I'm pretty happy to get a 3 on, you know. And Ricky Wysocki got a deuce on it. He put it within 40 feet of this, and it's just ridiculous. So that's an example of, the top touring players. Yeah, they definitely can throw it that far and make their putts and definitely get strokes on you. But, for the everyday tournament when you're just trying to get better, absolutely being able to throw 400 feet, just the 200-foot approach is awesome. It's all about the putt.
Well, yeah, and to me, my example is, like you said, like the Town Lake tournament or the Monkey Island Open tournaments. You'll see some of the Masters who I know can't throw very far. They'll have better scores than some of the pro guys.
Oh yeah.
And they can't throw very far, but because they're more consistent.
Consistent.
In their
that's the
short
word.
game and their putting. So, yes, throwing very far is not. It doesn't just because you can throw very far doesn't mean you can.
That's why for instance, Corey that works here at the DC, he was always telling me I need to go work on my distance. I was like, no, you need to go work on controlled distance because there is a difference. Distance is just who knows where it's going, kind of thing. And controlled distance, if you can throw it controlled distance 4 to 450, you're going to do great in disc golf.
Nice. All right, the next one is from Boo, and Boo says, "Hey guys, my question is about Nate Doss."
What up, Boo?
And his
sorry.
All right, let me start over.
My bad.
No worries. All right, he says, "Hey, needed that drink. Hey guys, my question is about Nate Doss and his relationship to Discraft. Do you guys think that Discraft should do more to promote Nate and help further his career in terms of online content? When I was still inexperienced with disc golf, I was helped greatly by Discraft clinic videos and in-the-bag videos. However, the most current in-the-bag video they have on YouTube right now is Eric's bag from 4 years ago.
Oh, wow, really? Mine?
I think Nate is one of the very best golfers in the world, but I feel like he may not get the recognition he deserves for it. Do you think Discraft should have more of a presence on YouTube and social media and showcase more of Nate and the other top players they have still left on the team? I know this may be a somewhat awkward question for Eric, so don't feel obligated to answer. Thanks, guys. Love the show."
No, it's not awkward at all.
Awkward.
It's awkward that they still have my in the bag video from 4 years ago.
Well,
on
I was
website.
looking the other day because I look at different sites because I help out with the sites and social media and stuff like that, and they still have you listed as like all the championships you won, which I guess isn't a big deal.
Yeah, they have it they have it there because I won with their plastic.
That makes sense. Okay.
So that's why they still have that one on there. But it's not a link anymore, so you can't click it and go to my page.
I got you.
So, but anyway, Nate Doss, great player.
Yes.
I like Nate a lot. We get along very well. He's not playing a lot. He played this weekend, but that was closer to home. He's not out touring like he used to, and so I don't know if that's part of the reason why they don't have a fresh in the bag. Well, that in the Discraft crew, they don't really travel a lot to events like us, like we do. They're at the Memorial because they run the Memorial. It's their event, and the Discraft Great Lakes Open. But I don't see Nate going out there, and putting out a way. But yeah, they probably absolutely should, pump Nate up a little bit more, give him, more, I don't know, endorsements or anything like that, but give him more footage, right, so to speak, more advertisements. But I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that really, because I mean it's Discraft and who I was a part of for 10 years, right, and I know how they work in and out, and yeah.
I guess my thinking is it's hard for us to answer on their behalf.
Yes.
All I can say is yes, I do believe it's important to give exposure to your players. Obviously,
and not just Nate Doss. You
No.
know, they should be given, you know, props to everybody on their team,
Right. And-
all of them.
Yeah,
And so it's not just Nate. I feel that they should, you know, give props where props is due, and you know, maybe it's Nate. Maybe Nate doesn't want to do it.
Who knows?
It's hard to say, but
Yeah.
I really doubt that Nate doesn't want to do it. But yeah,
Right.
they do definitely should get a new in the bag of Nate for his fans out there.
And the disc and the clinics and everything. I know that I was the same way when I first started getting interested. You know, I went to YouTube to see what was out there, and I saw a lot of the disc clinic videos and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
with Mark Ellis
Yep.
and Scott Papa,
so-
both of those guys, and they still do some stuff, you know,
Right.
for Discraft. So
but all we can do is speak about what we think we should be doing,
Yes.
and yes, we are doing as much as we can to get exposed on social media and things like that.
Yeah.
So the next one is from Jason. Jason says, one of the best features about the GBO was the GBO live tweeter feed. Tweeter.
Tweeter?
Jeez.
Is this your first time?
I know. Social media what?
What's social media?
About the GBO was a GBO live Twitter feed that sent hole-by-hole updates for the lead card. Now, a few weeks later, I started getting the same type of updates for the Steady Ed Memorial event via the GBO live feed. Yes, you did.
Yep, I saw
What's
that.
the story behind how all that came about, both for the GBO and now the Memorial, and loving it? All right, so I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Because I know everything that happened.
'Cause
Well, you were
you-
probably out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but what happened with the GBO? Of course, you know, me being on doing social media and stuff like that, we tried to think of everything we could for GBO, and then like the day before it started, somebody said something about we don't have anything really on Twitter, so we created GBO Live, which was a live updated status, kind of like Pdga Live, where it's update scoring. And so we had someone follow the top cards for the men on GBO Live, and they basically did their thing with Twitter and updating pictures and things like that to let you know what the scores were. And then we created at GBO Live 2, which would be the top women's card. Right now they're going to kind of remain dormant, of course, until we get closer to GBO next year. And of course, you know, you'll see activity on there. So if you're a big time Twitter follower and you like those live feed updates, definitely go follow at GBO Live and at GBO Live 2, and you'll be able to follow along the action for next year. Now,
I do think it's funny how the GBO Live was doing live tweets
well,
at,
what happened
at the
was,
memorial.
it was a technical snafu that happened. The guy who does social media for Pdga, Marty, really awesome guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He's a great guy. And, you know, obviously being with Dynamic Disc, I talk with him often via email and social media about media and disc golf and stuff. But he helped us to where the GBO Live was being tweeted out on some official Pdga during the GBO, so that when you were looking at scores for the GBO, you could see the GBO Live Twitter feed. So there was a connection there. And then what happened was, I don't know if they forgot or what happened, but come Steady Ed time, he said for some reason he couldn't get the feed to unconnect from GBO Live. And so the only workaround was for me to just leave it as it is, and then he would use it so he could update people with Steady Ed.
Hey, that's fine.
So it was a technical snafu for people to see the GBO Live updating them on Steady Ed. So that's kind of what happened. So I think they'll have it figured out for the next big major or whatever they're going to use.
Kansas City wide open.
Right. So they'll have it figured out by then, I'm sure. So it will be back to the regular at Pdga Live. And again, I highly recommend that if you are on Twitter, even if you're not on Twitter, if you just do it occasionally, Marty does an amazing job running those at Pdga Live tweets for the big tournaments.
Yeah,
so,
he does a great job
yeah,
of getting out there, and he's just a fan of the sport, which is awesome.
yeah. He was actually at GBO, and
He played.
He played.
He actually played GBO.
And he actually had his quadcopter
Yeah.
out at the block party, which was awesome.
He had his quadcopter in
Heyo.
in whoa Marty in Santa Cruz, and he was flying it over there and
Oh, did he?
off top
Cool.
of the world, which is really cool.
Nice.
He got it way high because top of the world's already huge elevation.
I need to go to that.
And
next year.
he went to the top of it and flew, you know, 'cause you can go so high, and he was just
Yeah.
double the height. It was awesome.
I'm going to tell Roscoe I need to go next
Yeah,
year.
you do need to go. You should have gone this year with me.
I know. Okay, so I'm going
It's
to
right
talk to him
near
more
the
about
beach.
that. I'm going to talk about more traveling. Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway, the next question is from Wycliffe again, and he says, when playing in tournaments, I become tired in the second rounds, which leads to poor form and mental mistakes. Eric,
Yes.
What do you do to help with fatigue and mental focus during long tournaments?
Long tournaments like the Masters Cup,
Yeah.
which is long. I keep a Cliff Bar in the bag. I keep drinking lots and lots of water. Stay hydrated. I don't really recommend having energy drinks or anything like that because that'll tends to lead to crashing or the shakes. So I don't really recommend that. But definitely keeping some form of snack in the bag, to get and keep drinking and get rehydrated, and just try to dig deep for that energy.
Yeah. One thing that I would give you a suggestion is what a lot of people forget is not necessarily what do I do once the fatigue hits me?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do that morning so that I'm not tired? No, you need to think about what am I doing the 2 days before the tournament?
Yes.
Am I getting my 8 hours of sleep? Yes. I sound like your parent. I sound like a nerd, but getting your 8 hours of sleep,
the
days leading up to it, is very, very important. Sleep, a lot of
your diet.
Your diet. And right now, a lot of our society is like, you got to burn the candle at both ends. I'm going to be successful because I'm going to stay up all hours of the night and work and work. No, you need to get your 8 hours of sleep. You need to eat right and eat good. The days, you should be doing it all the time, but the days leading up to the actual tournament is your prep time. So definitely make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you're slowing down on drinking pop and monster drinks because those will just give you a crash. So that would be my suggestions and my advice.
Yeah. That's great.
Nice. Okay, so sorry, we're looking at some pictures on the Facebook group. Okay, so yeah, if you don't know, we have a Facebook group, Disc Golf Answer Man. Go to Facebook and type in Disc Golf Answer Man, and you'll find our group. You can join there and get answer or ask disc golf questions,
or post videos,
or post videos. Seth, we're going to get to your video and help you out on that one.
Yes, yes.
But we are running at about an hour worth of audio, so we're going to call it quits for here. So if you've sent in a question while we're recording, we will get to it next week. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Out on YouTube and eventually on the podcast. As soon as this is over, I'm putting our stuff away, and like we said, we're going to record a In the Bag with Eric.
Two of them.
One regular In the Bag and one for Japan, what the discs he's taken to Japan. Make sure you go to iTunes and rate and review this show. We love that you guys do that. It helps us rank high in the show for a sports category. If you have an Android device, you can listen to us on Stitcher, so don't forget about that.
Something else coming up that we didn't mention is next week. Trilogy Challenge begins.
Oh, yeah.
The 31st. Trilogy Challenges.
I'll let you do it.
I'll do it.
So these are the discs you're going to throw during the trilogy.
Yep, they're very small.
They're very small.
No, they're really cool. The minis that you get in the player packs. You explain it, and I'm gonna show it to the YouTube.
I know a lot of you have heard about the Trilogy Challenge, but just in case, what it is a where you get 3 unreleased discs from the 3 companies, Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, and Westside. You can host your own Trilogy Challenge, and we have well over 200 events scheduled right now, all over the United States and in 5 other countries, I believe. So you can. There's our. Say hello to my little friend.
Hello.
So the Trilogy Challenge. So you can run it. You can host it and run it any way you want to. 1 round, 2 round. Go to the Trilogy Challenge Facebook page, and you can see some of the stories of how people are using the money that they'll raise running a challenge to help with the community.
Yes.
For course improvement, for club improvement, giving to their disc golf organization.
Tour improvement if you, as an individual, want to run the event.
Get some money for, pay for gas money to some events and stuff like that. So yeah, these are the minis that
they're
came
really
in.
cool.
They really are cool.
They have the Trilogy stamp.
Embossed.
I think it's in the mold.
Yeah.
So it's on the disc. It's raised. They're really cool. Really cool minis.
Cool,
But definitely check out the trilogychallenge.com.
Definitely, for sure. Okay, that's it. That's all we have, guys. Thanks so much
more
for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Ah!